everyone. Today I have another story time. So this one's going to be about this guy that irritated me to no end. Like, I don't even understand why he did what he did. As you guys might have noticed, this is not my room. This is actually my boyfriend's room. Honestly, I did this literally just to test out the lighting because we're doing a video soon. You guys are gonna find out what it is soon enough. We were trying to figure out whether we should film it at my room or his room. I mean, we're probably gonna film it in his room anyway. But yeah, so that was just a little note on why I'm not in my room. So we'll get on with the story time now. You guys see my hoodie, by the way? Yeah, it's great. So this story time is going to be a little long, or at least longer than my other videos have been. The events of this specific story time span over the course of around 2 years because it starts in like November 2017 and then it ends in like August 2019. As for the main character of this lovely story time, we'll call him Arthur because I think Arthur is a really pretentious name, and I feel like that describes this guy in one word: pretentious. Because I don't understand how I didn't notice this earlier, but he was just, oh my god. This story gets me heated every single time I talk about it, so I'm sorry. Also, Arthur's probably never gonna watch this, but I mean, if you are, what's good? So I was in this extracurricular program and it was about computer science because I was very interested in computer science at the time. I still am, but like I switched majors and that's a different story. Maybe I'll make another video about that. This program would meet every Saturday and it operated on approximately the same schedule as the New York City public school schedule. For those of you that don't know, I was born and raised in New York City. I lived there for 19 years. I only moved like pretty recently this past summer, and now I live closer to where I attend college. So we were just beginning the program at this time. It was around like September, October. For the first project of the school year, the program advisor sorted us into groups of like 5 to 6 people, and each group would work together and create their own website. So I happened to be put in a group with Arthur, and that's how we met each other. The program had around 50 students, so I didn't really get a chance to talk to everyone yet. Up until that time, I'd just been sitting with one specific group of people, and I kind of just stuck with them through that because I'm a shy bean. So Arthur and I got put in a group together and we started talking, just as friends though. Naturally, as friends do, you have like these little inside jokes and other things that you guys would talk about. One of our inside jokes related to me being late to class a lot or like just not attending. This happened for several reasons, okay? So one was that I woke up late. Second was that the trains were not working as well because they ran on the weekend schedule, and the weekend schedule is known to be pretty bad. Third thing was that I had another extracurricular program, and some of the meetings would be on weekends, on Saturdays specifically, so sometimes they conflicted with this class. Every time I walked in late to class and I walked by him, he'd tease me. He'd be like, "Oh, you're late, haha." As we became closer as friends, I guess I started having like a little bit of a crush along the way. I'm not sure why, honestly. I guess like I just thought that he was a charming person, and you know, he's not bad looking. Or at least at the time he wasn't bad looking. I saw a picture of him recently and I'm like, is that you? This boy looks so different from what he looked like before. Looking back at it, I really don't understand why I had a crush on him. Because he was honestly really pretentious. And I don't know what I saw in that. It's not even that he's being blatantly pretentious. It's so low-key that I didn't notice it at first. Okay, wait, let me give you an example. So we were high school seniors at the time, and obviously we were going through the college admission process. There were some schools that accepted like early action and early decision applications. He had applied early decision for this specific prestigious school. Yeah, I'm not gonna say it because that's where he goes right now. He got into this prestigious school. He posted about it on his Instagram story, and obviously I saw it, so I congratulated him on it. The thing is, the way he posted it was like, the way that was is that he posted the letter. Next to it was a caption, and the gist of what the caption said was, I've been waiting for this. And it was like in such a snobby manner. I swear it must have been so crazy for him that I didn't notice that, because I just can't stand people like that, like at all. At some point along the way, like our conversation started getting like more sexual in nature. I never showed him anything, none of this. He didn't show me any of that either. But the texts that we were sending were kind of suggestive. My horny teenager self ended up liking him even more because of that. So these very suggestive text messages continue for a few more weeks. And then he suddenly starts leaving me on red all the time. I'm not sure why, because I didn't think I was doing anything wrong. I was kind of just following along with what he was doing. And then I'm just like, what the fuck? Because I had a crush on him. So, you know, I was a little hurt by that. One day, like a few weeks later, after he starts ghosting me, he texts me and he's like, oh, I can't do this anymore. Oh, I just want to stay friends. I'm like, yeah, okay. But now I'm even more hurt because, you know, there go my chances of being with him ever. So I start chilling out. Like, I don't text him as often as I used to, but at least the few times that I did, he actually replied. So at this stage, I thought, okay, we're cool again. Everything's fine. We're friends. We're back to normal. We actually hung out once in around like February of 2018. We went to an art gallery and honestly, it was so awkward. I specifically remember I was trying to look cute and everything. Like, oh my god, I did my makeup, I wore a dress, and if you know me, you know that I barely wear dresses, so that was something. What were you doing, younger Izzy? So after this little art gallery date, he starts to leave me on red again. At this point, I kind of just give up because I'm like, okay, if you don't want to talk to me, then don't talk to me. Great. I really think that nothing is gonna come out of this whatsoever. So one day, around March of 2018, he posts on his Snapchat story, and it's of him and this girl. And okay, we'll call this girl Maddie. I don't think anything of that picture because I'm like, okay, they're just friends, they're hanging out. But as the days go on, I see that Maddie starts showing up more often in his Snapchat stories, and I'm getting convinced that they're dating. Around this time, I realized I haven't seen anything from his Instagram in a while. Not that he really posted often there anyways, but I was just curious. So I went over to his page to see if he had posted anything recently. He stopped liking and commenting on my post too because he used to do that a lot. So I check and this man unfollowed me. In my head, I'm like, why? I didn't do anything to you. We didn't have any beef. I was just assuming that we were like chill with each other. Out of curiosity, I wanted to see if he had unfriended me anywhere else. He also unfriended me on Facebook, and I'm so confused because I don't know what I did to you. What did I ever do to you, Arthur? I don't understand. You know where this boy decided to keep me as a contact? LinkedIn. Fucking LinkedIn. Like, nah, this boy's only interested in me as a professional connection. That's it. If he like unfollowed me on only one platform, I honestly would not be that butthurt about it. But I just found it so weird. It was like he was trying to cut off ties with me completely, and I don't know why. Because again, let me emphasize this again, I did nothing to him whatsoever. I told him I was okay with just being friends again, and I was. Like, I really was okay. I didn't want to cut him off just because he didn't like me back. And it honestly seemed so sus that it was on more than one platform. It seems like you cared that much, or I was just that much of a bother that you had to go to different apps just to unfriend me on each of them. At this point, I'm so done with him, like even more done than I was before, because I didn't know what I did to warrant being unfollowed and unfriended, especially when I hadn't even talked to him for a few months. See, I'm pretty sure he blocked my number too, because I remember trying to text him once and either he didn't respond or he didn't receive it at all, so I don't even know. I still followed him on Insta even though he unfollowed me because I low-key wanted to stalk his profile still. So I look at his Insta profile a few days after and I confirm that him and Maddie are dating. I was still confused as to why he unfollowed me and unfriended me, but I was like, whatever. I was pretty much over my crush at that point, so there was no use in holding on to it. I was wondering more for the sake of curiosity because I genuinely did not know what I did wrong, and I believed I didn't do anything wrong. It's just not right to tell someone you just want to be friends and then ghost them right after. You don't want to talk to the person anymore, you should just say it. There's no need to be weird ghosting people left and right, okay? So fast forward to June of 2018, and we graduated from the computer science program that we were in. And the thing is, what happens along with this graduation is that each student is assigned to a certain internship opportunity or like some sort of work experience. So I got placed in an internship experience with this girl, and we'll call her Kale. So Kale actually had become friends with Arthur relatively recently to this time. We started our internship in July, and because we spent a good amount of time together since we were in the internship together, Kayla and I became close pretty quickly. We were from different cohorts in the program, so we didn't really see each other before this. We don't really talk daily anymore, but I still value her as a friend. She's just a really sweet person. The way that this internship opportunity worked is that we were placed in a professional environment, which means that essentially we were working alongside real adults. We were able to work at our own pace and take breaks whenever we wanted to, as long as we were able to finish the task that we were assigned by the end of the day. For a lot of the time throughout the internship, we took breaks together because we were the two youngest interns there. So one time we were on one of our breaks and the topic of Arthur comes up. I forget how, but the topic of Arthur comes up. She asked me for my opinion on him, and I'm like, I'm not a big fan of him. So I kind of spill my tea. If this is the cup of tea, I spill maybe like a few drops of it. I don't tell her everything because we're not super close at this point. Not that I didn't trust her as a person. I'm just not comfortable with being that open, especially when I know that she has a favorable opinion of Arthur. So I just tell her I used to have a crush on him and he started ghosting me. And then you know what she says? Okay, she's like, wow, he started ghosting me too. I really thought we were friends. So what you're telling me is that Arthur just loves to ghost people for no fucking reason. Is that your kink, Arthur? Do you enjoy that? I genuinely don't understand. Like, what is wrong with you? So then she starts spilling her tea about how she's not cool with Arthur anymore. Basically what happened is that she and Arthur became close pretty quick. It was so quick to the point where they started telling each other pretty personal stuff, as closer friends do. They were honestly really close, but Kale didn't want anything romantic with him. It was just purely platonic. She just wanted to be friends. So one day, they're just both at their respective homes. They're FaceTiming, and they're playing this game together. So Kale's sister comes into Kale's room and sees that she's on FaceTime with this guy. And then you know how siblings tease each other? So Kale's sister is like, oh, is that your boyfriend? Of course, Kale was like, no, we're just friends. You know, her sister's like, oh, are you sure? Since Arthur was still on the FaceTime call, he could see and hear what was going on. He seems so incredibly irritated by it that he says, oh, I'm getting uncomfortable. I don't think we should be friends anymore. Right then and there. No, this is the part that really gets me. He ends the call. And that's it. After that, he doesn't talk to Kale anymore. At all. He never texts her or anything like that. I find that such a shitty way to end a friendship. When there was literally no problem. There was no problem. I don't understand what this dude is doing. So after she told me that whole situation, I spill all my tea. Like, I just pour all that shit down. I find it so weird that he just ghosts people for no reason. Since my specific situation pertained to Maddie as well, she remembered something about her that Arthur had told her. So one thing that Arthur mentioned to Kale when they were still friends was his situation with Maddie at the time. I swore not to tell anyone because that's his business, and I'm not the type to gossip about other people's business like that. Okay, I guess it's kind of ironic that I'm saying this in a story time, but I'm not trying to expose anyone by making these story times. I keep everything anonymous, and if anyone that watches my story times happens to know the people that I mentioned in it or like figures it out, I trust that they won't reveal who they are publicly. Okay, so back to the story. Maddie was essentially a controlling, manipulative, abusive, all of that. You know, she was just a really bad girlfriend in general. She would check his social media to see if he was texting other girls, and she would unfriend them on his account if she saw them there, which is the explanation to why he ghosted me out of nowhere. Like, she would guilt trip him into staying with him even though like he was feeling pretty iffy about the relationship and he wanted to leave. Like, she was that level of obsessive. Kayla also tells me that Maddie and Arthur have been dating since October of 2017. So when she tells me all of that, I feel kind of split. First, I feel sorry for him for being in that situation because I know what it's like to have been in a bad relationship. Then I realized Arthur has been telling the whole world that he's been with Maddie since March of 2018. And he told Kale that they've been dating since October 2017. The fact that there's an inconsistency in that says a lot about him as a person. I don't know what reason he has to be lying about that. Like, it's not that serious. Also remember that this boy Arthur, he started being 40 with me in like November of 2017. So, if that's the case where he was dating Maddie since October, that is cheating. And I don't agree with that whatsoever. This boy is an enigma. I don't even know what is real about him anymore. Either way, he's in the wrong. Because even if they actually have been dating since March of 2018, why do you feel the need to lie to people about that? Like, are you a compulsive liar? Like, is that what you are, Arthur? I just don't get it. If he was dating her since October, then why was he being so flirty with me? See, I'm gonna pull up a screenshot real quick. I don't really have that much evidence of texts anymore because most of them were on my old phone. I've already wiped the memory on my old phone, so they're gone now. And I didn't save everything on Snap, so that's also gone. I found a little snippet. It's not that bad, honestly, but it makes you wonder how far it could have progressed. I apologize if the screenshots look weird because basically what I did was I borrowed my friend's phone to take pictures of my screen. I didn't want to screenshot it because you know how Snapchat notifies the other person when you take a screenshot of the chat? Yeah, I didn't want any of that. The context behind this specific part is that I was making a bunch of typos and he was kind of like laughing at me for it. He's like, haha, you can't spell. No, he's like, I need me some more of this. And I'm like, maybe you'll have more of it, but obviously I'm not here to entertain you. Then he says, but you have to admit you are a tad bit entertaining. I reply, yes, definitely, in multiple ways apparently. Makes you wonder why I'm still single. I know why you were still single past Izzy, and it was because you were the most awkward being to ever exist on the face of the earth. Let's just put that out there. He's like, maybe you're just too freaky for people. Context behind that is that I might have talked about certain things that I'm into. We'll leave it at that because I'm not going to sit here and talk about that. I'm like, wow, you're right. Okay. Then he says, but maybe not. I don't know. We're just gonna have to explore and find out. What are we exploring? I want to know. I really want to know because honestly, this wasn't the worst of it. It was like the only thing that I had left, so that's why I showed that. But there are some undertones behind that, and those are not good undertones if you are already in a committed relationship with someone else. Honestly, I was just thinking about it. Like, if my boyfriend was talking like that with someone else, I would not be okay with that whatsoever. Like, that is not okay. You do not do that when you're in a committed relationship. So Kale and I end up bonding over our mutual hate for his bum ass. Fast forward to July 2019, and I'm hanging out with my boyfriend and this other girl that we'll call Luna. All three of us had just met each other in our freshman year of college. And there's this weird phenomenon where people from New York City tend to like know each other somehow, even if they go to different schools and everything like that. I find it so weird because there's literally so many people in the city. And out of all of them, you happen to know, like, this specific person. Also, another thing, you know how on Insta you can see, like, mutuals? So there's this one time during the past spring semester, Luna randomly asked me once if I knew Arthur, and I'm like, yeah, I do. So during this hangout in July, the topic of Arthur came up. I had the prior knowledge that she knew who Arthur was, but I didn't necessarily know how. So I asked her how she knew Arthur, and she was like, oh yeah, we hooked up before. But he's an asshole. Apparently he broke up with Maddie that summer of 2019 and he tried to slide into Luna's DMs again afterwards. But she was like, I'm taken now, sorry. Since she's not really the type to like post stuff with like her and her boyfriend a lot, it wasn't necessarily like obvious that she was taken. But you know what she does? She sends a pic of her and her boyfriend together and shows it to Arthur to show that she is in fact taken. So from the information I've gathered so far, this man is Casper the friendly fuckboy. This same summer of 2019, Kale and I had become mentors for the program that we both did. So this program had an end showcase where all of the students in the program presented their work to an audience. Arthur happens to come to this specific event. Just my luck. Kale and I are collectively trying to avoid him throughout the entire thing. She managed to avoid him completely because after the event ended, she immediately left because she had to go do something else. I stayed back with some of my fellow mentors and I helped put back all of the laptops and the other equipment. Arthur also stayed after because he was talking to our program advisor and everyone else because obviously he knew them from the program. Eventually, after I finished putting everything away, I'm just walking around. I'm trying to make sure that I didn't leave anything out. In the distance, I see this bitch ass waving at me. And I'm like, what are you waving at me for? I don't talk to you anymore. Get out! So he continues to wave at me and he's obviously not stopping. So I walk over and put my best fake smile forward. It starts as a normal conversation. He's just like, hey, how are you? And I'm trying not to shake out of pure hatred. I still managed to have a decent conversation with him. He sounds so snobby during this entire conversation that I'm like internally screaming. He starts talking about his trip to China and how much money he has to actually go places. And then he's also like, oh, it was so hard communicating with my girlfriend while I was abroad. We ended up breaking up afterwards. And I'm like, wow, I feel that. Yeah, my boyfriend is in the Philippines right now and it's been pretty hard trying to talk to him. I put particular emphasis on my boyfriend because there is no way he's gonna try to get with me after all of that, okay? And then when I say that, he's like, oh, you're Filipino? First of all, I don't know why you're assuming that when I literally just said my boyfriend went to the Philippines. I don't think that has any correlation to it. Second of all, I should also mention this. Maddie is Filipino. Luna is Filipino. I'm Filipino. Do you see a pattern here? Because I do. Coincidence much? I don't think so. So I'm like, yeah, I'm Filipino. And he's like, oh, that's cool. At this point, my other mentors had joined in the conversation. So the rest of it consisted of him talking about how it was being in his frat and everything like that, which I did not care for at all. I was just incredibly done. If you thought I was done like all the other times before, no, I was done now. And that was the last time I ever saw him. I don't know how he's doing right now, but I honestly don't care. Arthur, if you watched until the very end of this, that's great. I hope that you were able to listen to my perspective on your bullshit. That's the end of the story time. I hope you guys enjoyed it and I'll see you in the next video.